Good morning, everyone, and welcome to
Beach Day!
Woo! My name is Pacific, and I chose this nature name because I love the beach. I love the ocean. I love the feeling of walking on the sand. I love smelling that salty air. Most of all, I love swimming in the ocean. I love just getting tossed around by the waves, and I could stay in there for a long time. If you watched the other night on Tuesday, told you that, but I'll give you some new facts about me. My favorite animal is, unsurprisingly, an animal that lives in the ocean, the orca, and I've even gotten to kayak with them once by accident. It was both terrifying and the coolest thing I've ever done in my life.
Hi, my name is Soleil. You might remember me from Monday night's campfire, and you might remember my white cowboy boots. But Soleil is the French word for sun, and I chose that nature name because I love the sun so much. I love sitting in the sun and sweating, and I love all of the food that the sun makes grow, because I like to eat and cook, but mostly eat. And of course, more than anything in the whole world, I love my white cowboy boots. So here they are again.
Almost white cowboy boots. White shoes?
White shoes.
Close enough.
We are so happy to have you guys here today watching and joining us for Beach Day. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do some skits and stories and learn some stuff.
So we're going to start off with an activity to get us in the beach frame of mind. This activity is called Stand Up If. So we might say, stand up if you've, and make some waves if you've ever been to the ocean, if you've ever been to the beach before. And then you would stand up and make the waves. So we're going to move our bodies. So even if you're home alone, you can stand on up with us, and then we'll tell you how to see it again. Oh, look, they already did it.
So prepared.
I know. So let's get started. Stand on up if and make a swimming. If you've ever had a pet fish before, swim like your little pet fish might have swam.
Oh yeah. If
You can have a seat.
you've ever picked up a shell and listened to see if you can hear the ocean, you can pick up a phone and go, hello?
Hello. And you can have a seat. If you have ever, this is one of the coolest things in my opinion about the Pacific Ocean that we live near. If you've ever gotten to watch the sun set over the Pacific Ocean, stand up and go, wow.
Wow.
Oh my God.
If you've ever been to the aquarium, get really close to your screen and press your face up like you're pressing your face up against the glass and looking at fish.
And for our last one, if you have ever listened to wave music to help you relax, it's some nice white noise. Just make a shh sound.
Every night, baby. All right. And pause because we want to make sure everyone's ready.
Okay.
Do they need anything today, Pacific?
Just a positive mental attitude.
Positive mental attitude. Maybe a journal and a pencil if you want to write down some of the things we're talking about and some of the activities we'll share with you guys at the end.
We'll give you another
So,
15 seconds
go get it.
to do that while our actors get ready for the first skit. Or if you need...
Hello.
Hello?
Oh my God, he just
right.
hung up on you.
So this first skit is super cool, and it'll give you a little idea of what goes on at the beach every single day. So, actors, are you ready, actors? Yes. Okay, let's begin.
As it is, as it was, as it will forever be, from the depths of the ocean blue comes the goddess of the sea. Oh, she's so beautiful.
Wow. Amazing.
Carrying gifts and treasures, her foamy fingers reach, and she leaves them here upon the shore, upon the sandy beach. And in a rhythmic fashion, a tide of ebb and flow. Ebb and flow.
Everyone do your best ebb and flow.
Ebb and flow. She leaves her gifts high and dry and waves goodbye as out again she goes. Now there are those who await these gifts. They are dwellers of the land. They walk upon the earth and live upon the sand. With eyes like aliens, these insects come to eat and munch.
Yummy, yummy.
Munch, munch, munch.
Munch, munch.
Feasting on the treasures the ocean goddess has left for lunch.
Yummy, yummy.
But now a shadow soars far above them, oh so high. Those who live upon the land fear those who live in the sky. So away they run as the birds swoop down looking for a treat. And they too find the tasty offerings of goods to eat. And so it is, and so it was, and so it will forever be. The sky, the sea, and the land all touch at the sandy shore. All right, thank you, actors. Wow.
Some warm fuzzies.
Incredible work.
I love that sea goddess. Wow.
I know.
The most beautiful sea goddess.
So magical.
So, if any of you have an idea of what that skit is talking about, you can let us know in the comments, because that skit is detailing something that happens at the beach every day, comes in and out, and ebbs and flows, and ebbs and flows, and it leaves behind all kinds of cool stuff. But it's not just at the sandy shore that you can find cool stuff. You can find cool stuff related to the beach in a ton of different ecosystems. So this word, ecosystem, means a place that, and is a combination of all the living things and all the non-living things that make up this environment. So it's not just the sandy shore that you might think of when you think of the ecosystem of the beach, when you used to go swimming down by the ocean. But it's also the open ocean. There's the rocky shore, the tide pools, there's the marsh, the kelp forest. There's so many different places. And our naturalists have some examples of cool stuff that you can find in all of these different ecosystems. So does anyone want to come on up and share with us? Chanterelle.
Shanti, what did you find on this?
I found this tiny shell from an animal called a chitin. Here, I'll put it on the... From an animal called a chitin. And my favorite part about it is the inside. Oh, usually the actual living part of the animal is on the inside, but the shell is so pretty in there. The colors are amazing. They like to stick on rocks like that.
Thank you for sharing, Shanti. If you guys at home have ever found something really cool at the beach or at any other of those ecosystems we talked about, share it in the comments down below. We'd love to hear what you guys found.
And if you notice anything about these things that we're showing you, if you wonder anything, or if they remind you of anything, those 3 eyes we've talked about earlier this week, you should totally let us know. Oh, it looks like we have some comments.
Haley noticed that it looks kind of like an abalone.
Oh, really interesting. We'll see later that abalones have also really beautiful inside of their shell. That's a really good, it reminds you of. Yeah, we'd love to hear what you're thinking about. Maybe you're noticing the color, the size, the shape, the texture. Any of those things, we'd love to hear from you. Does anyone else want to share what they found?
Yeah, come
on up.
This is my favorite. I'm really excited. I found limpet. It's this really tiny shell, and some of them have a hole in the middle, and then I found some others that don't, and I'm wondering why some might have a hole and some might not. Maybe you could write in the comments if you have any guesses why some might have a hole. There's also a really cool club with this shell if you find a shell. It fits perfectly just on your nose. If you're at the beach and you see that, you can rest it on your nose and you can be in the limpet club.
Why don't you demonstrate that club for us, Millipede?
All right, fine.
That's an
You want to know something really cool about limpets that I learned recently? Limpets basically never leave.
Whoa! It just fits perfectly on your nose. I love it.
She's great.
Limpets basically stay in the same spot their whole life. They'll move a little bit to eat, and then they'll basically go right back.
Wow.
So they'll stay, like some animals travel super far, move around a lot. Limpets, I've never seen a limpet move, and they move infrequently, and then when they do, they basically go right back where they came from. They're super attached to where they live.
I wonder how they move around. Oh, we got some
We have comments. She's beauty anchor.
Edward said that Shanty's shell reminded him of a tie-dye shirt, kind of like your guys' is. And Griselda said that she found a fish.
Whoa!
Oh, just like in the sea goddess sketch.
Just like
the sea goddess left behind a fish.
That's pretty cool. All right, let's have another person share. Yeah, Lumen, come on up.
I worked 360 this time.
Darn it. Maybe next time.
I had in my box this awesome crab shell. It's the top of it.
Very cool.
And my questions, one of them says, how do the pinchers or feet help the crab survive in its habitat? So I want to hear you all comment below about what you think. And then it gave us 3 different crabs you can find in the tide pools or in the open ocean. And this one, which one do you think it is?
Lumen, what ecosystem do you think this crab might have come from?
I don't know. Why don't the students answer that question?
A lot of questions about this crab.
I know. It's a curious crab. Cool.
All right, while you're thinking about that, we'll take one more cool thing from the audience.
Cholo's feeling stoked.
It was her birthday yesterday, everyone.
That's true.
Celebrate Cholo forever.
Every day is Cholo's day.
Before Cholo. Comment, lady, come on in.
About Millipede's shell, Jacob says that the hole is to breathe. And Joseph thought maybe someone ate it.
Oh.
And Samantha said that she once found an oyster.
Whoa, cool.
Whoa, Cholo, that's
I
super
found
cool.
a sea urchin, and if you notice, there's like a bunch of little bumps on the sides here, and if you flip it inside, there's actually a really cool design on it. I don't know if you can see it, but super cool design. So why do you think they might have all these little bumps on the sides? Cool.
Thank you for sharing
so
Cholo.
much.
Keep responding to all those questions our awesome naturalists have been asking you guys in the comments, but
We're going to get to talking about the ecosystem that a lot of these creatures came from. Not all of them came from this ecosystem, but a lot of them came from the rocky shore, which looks like that. So, as we heard in the skit that we did at the beginning, the tide comes in, and the tide goes out. The tide comes in, and the tide goes out. And that happens twice every day. So there's 2 high tides and 2 low tides a day. And when you're out in the middle of the ocean, you don't really notice it. But when you're at the edge, when you're at the rocky shore, your water comes in, and it looks just kind of like you imagine the ocean. But when the water goes back out, there's all these little pools of water surrounded by rocks where a lot of creatures can live, and they'll hang out there until the tide comes back in and helps them move around. And this happens because of the moon, actually. The moon has a gravitational effect on Earth, which moves the water just a little bit. It's not like swinging tsunamis every direction, but it is helping change the tide a little bit. So in these tide pools, there's so many really cool creatures, which we're going to get to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah, and when we go to the tide pools, all these creatures have to exist through these crazy conditions of having a lot of water and then very little. Most animals kind of stay in a more consistent ecosystem, but these animals are really special and have a lot of cool adaptations. So,
here she comes.
oh,
Comment, lady.
Comment, lady.
More comments.
go crazy.
Anything from the Snails.
All right, Christy was wondering how the urchins move.
Ooh,
And
good question.
Ludwin said that the urchin looks like a potato.
Yes.
Which I think so
Love
too.
me a potato.
But Kaden
I'm
thought the
hungry now.
urchin looks like a dragon fruit.
That's a
Ooh,
great
that's a
comparison
really
to the
good
little,
comparison.
yeah.
Good reminds me.
Nice. And Gage said that he once found a starfish on the beach.
Whoa.
Nice.
That's
We'll get to check out some really cool ones later today.
Because Lydia also found a starfish.
No way.
Wow, isn't that wild? They found so many things. Jess was noticing how one of those shells looked like a pearl. I like that comparison.
Yeah, it's a really good. It reminds you.
And then Kyle, well, first, Binman was wondering, why was that urchin hollow?
Is that a question? Yeah. Does anyone have an idea why that urchin is hollow?
Yes,
Yeah, Scale.
An urchin is an echinoderm, which means spiny skin. They have a spiny outside and all of their organs are in the inside.
Yeah, so that one was just a shell of an urchin that used to be alive. So when it was still living, it had all of its organs and its livingness inside there.
And then moving into the next topic, you were all talking about the moon.
Yeah.
Kyle is noticing that the moon makes the tide.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's exactly it. Nice job, Kyle. And like we were saying, all of those animals have crazy things like that spiny skin, these adaptations to help them survive in this environment. So that word adaptation pretty much just means something an animal has or does that lets it survive and exist better in its situation and its environment. So it can be anything from having something to protect itself, or even the ability to stick onto those rocks in the tide pools to stay put when the waves are moving them around. So, all right.
I think I'm ready to go to the tide pool.
You're ready?
Yeah.
But, there's a few things we got to talk about before we are really ready.
You know what I think? I think we should invite Outdoor Ed to come join us at the tide pool.
I agree.
I
think
don't know.
he would
He's so
love
busy
it.
hiking in the forest. I'm not sure he's ever seen them before.
Yeah, he probably hasn't. Hey, Outdoor Ed? I thought I saw him.
Outdoor Ed.
Word.
Outdoor Ed.
Word.
Outdoor Ed.
Word.
Outdoor Ed.
Hello.
Welcome. Wow, yeah, I noticed you have another sock
Look at that!
on.
Look at that's crazy. I found a sock. Haven't found my shoe yet. Hopefully that will happen.
Soon.
Maybe tomorrow. Who knows?
I'm noticing that you don't have your backpack. Are you like hanging around for a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, you know what? I decided to just start doing some smaller hikes, maybe just up to the garden and back, and that's it. Yeah.
I'm so
really
glad
just
to hear
hanging
that.
out.
Character growth.
Because, you know what, Outdoor Ed, we have another really cool place for you to come to with us.
What is that place?
It is the tide pools.
The tide pool.
Have you ever heard of tide pools?
No, I haven't. Where are they located at?
They're at the beach, at the rocky shore ecosystem that Pacific was
As I was
just
saying, the tide comes in and goes out and leaves all those animals in the water there. And we're going to get to show you some really cool animals. You want to come with?
Yeah.
All right, before we go,
Yeah.
we have to make sure we're really safe when we're down there. Now, normally, we'd want you to be wearing 2 shoes.
2 shoes.
2 shoes.
That is a dilemma right now.
But,
I feel like you're halfway there.
you know, you just have to promise to be extra careful, okay?
Extra careful.
Gotta listen to
got
these
it.
other rules really, really
Yeah.
carefully.
Okay.
I think we have something that we're going to need if Outdoor Ed only has one
Oh,
shoe.
definitely. You better get those on deck.
Okay.
We're almost ready for it. We are going to go down to the tide pools, and like Pacific said, that water comes in and out, so the rocks are really slippery. So we got to move low and slow.
Low.
Let me see your best low and slow movement. Like you're moving from rock to rock.
Low
Really carefully.
and slow.
Low and
Grip on those rocks.
wow.
Low
Outdoor Ed reminds me of a crab.
and slow.
Yeah.
That's a really good it reminds me of.
Low and slow.
Low and slow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Nice job, Outdoor Ed. Okay, I feel like I can trust you to be careful down there. And we're gonna put on these neon vests
Whoa.
just to
Here's one for you. Outdoor
make
Ed.
sure
Nice.
we know we're being safe. We can
This
see
is my
each
favorite
other.
color.
Pacific
It's my
has
favorite color.
has the med kit fanny pack on, very critical in case anyone slips and gets a little scrapity scrape. And one more thing we need to remember, this is really important, is that like we said, an adaptation some animals might have is to stick to those rocks. Kind of like this Velcro, they stick onto the rocks, and that helps keep them safe in this ecosystem. So if we want to pull them off and look at them, we're not going to sit there all day and just like yank them off. We have a 1 tug rule. So if they come off,
One tug rule.
Yeah, everybody say that. One tug.
1 tug.
Rule.
Rule's
Right.
important.
so if they come off in 1 tug, you can definitely take a look at them. But if they want to stay on there, we got to respect their wishes.
So we have a song for you about this really cool place. And this is a repeat after me song.
This is a repeat after me song.
If you go down to the ocean,
If you go down to the ocean,
down by the rocky shore,
down by the rocky shore,
when the tide goes out, you'll be dancing.
when the tide goes out, you'll be dancing.
Like you never danced before.
Like you never danced before.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie.
Tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie.
Listen to that ocean beat.
Listen to that ocean beat.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. It's amazing who you'll meet.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. It's amazing who you'll meet.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie as the wind and the water play.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie as the wind and the water play.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. You can do it now twice a day.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. You can do it now twice a day.
So that part is the chorus. There are going to be some verses, and they're full of cool facts and different animals that you might find at the tide pools that we'll get to explore, hopefully a lot of them in a little bit. So keep your eyes peeled and join us and sing along at home. We hope that you're having as much fun boogieing out as we are. It's always a good time to get your body moving, do some dancing.
Let's just look
Yeah,
at
you can
outdoor
do
boogie.
a little Give us an example of what the best kind of boogie looks
Boogie
like.
for us.
Should it also be low and slow?
Yes.
Yeah, blow and slow boogie. Right now.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, slow and slow. Yes, I love it.
So just like that. So if you need to clear some space around you, push back your chair, push back any obstacles that you might need.
Get ready to
so you can
boogie.
boogie like outdoor ad. All right.
Ready? If you go down to the ocean, down by some rocky shore, rock out. When the tide goes out, you'll be dancing like you never danced before. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. Listen to that ocean beat. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. It's amazing who you'll meet. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie as the wind and the water play. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. You can do it now twice a day.
Crabs pinch out the rhythm. Sea stars walk on hollow feet. Sea anemones wave their tentacles. And scorpions look for something to eat.
If you go down to the ocean, down by some rocky shore, rock out. When the tide goes out, you'll be dancing like you never danced before. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. Listen to that ocean beat. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. It's amazing who you'll meet. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie as the wind and the water play. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. You can do it now twice a day.
Mussels are holding on tightly. Limpets do the 1 foot slide. Hermit crabs are looking for new homes. And sea palms are swaying with the tide.
If you go down to the ocean, down by some rocky shore, rock out. When the tide goes out, you'll be dancing like you never danced before. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. Listen to that ocean beat. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. It's amazing who you'll meet. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie as the wind and the water play. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. You can do it now twice a day.
Echinoderms have skin that is spiny. That's a sea star. Cephalopods a head with armed feet. An octopus. A gastropod's a foot with a stomach. And that's a sea slug. Tide pool critters are the strangest you'll meet.
If you go down to the ocean, down by some rocky shore, rock out.
When the tide goes out, you'll be dancing like you never danced before. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 boogie. Listen to that ocean beat. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 boogie. It's amazing who you'll meet. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 boogie. As the wind and the water play. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 boogie. You can do it now twice a day.
Woo! Woo! Warm Fuzzies, thank you for singing along with us, and thank you to all of our rockin' naturalists. Outdoor Ed, you just nailed it.
Oh,
with
we
that
got some
verse.
comments.
What's up, comment lady?
Olive wanted you to know that it seems like it's a neon party at the beach.
Oh,
And then Aaliyah has a question for you, Outdoor Ed.
Yeah.
She knows that you're down at the tide pools, and she's just wondering, isn't that gonna hurt?
You know what? This sock is a hiking sock, and the hiking socks have this protective layer on the bottom that
Sounds
is
like a
like
yes.
yeah, it hurts. Yeah.
Well, maybe if you're really lucky, you can find that other shoe, and then
Hopefully.
Your feet won't
Maybe
hurt so
tomorrow.
Dun, dun, dun. So wait, are you ready to go check out some tide pool creatures?
I'm so ready. We get to join my favorite club. Let's head on over and look at these tide pool creatures.
Dun, 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 dun,
We are
dun, dun,
so
dun.
lucky here at Outdoor Ed because we have a marine tank with sea creatures that come and stay with us during the school year from the tide pools, and then we go and put them back at the end of the year. So we're gonna join the 1 minute club, and during this 1 minute club, you guys are going to look at the sea creatures in the tank and see all the different observations you can make. Let's see what you can think of that it reminds you of, or maybe some wonders you have about it too.
You can notice some of the shape and texture of the different animals, colors. Maybe you can even compare them to each other. So we're gonna give you a minute to join this club.
Keep sharing those awesome observations.
I think it's time for some naturalists to join.
Oh, comment.
Coming on in.
Edward has a really good question. Wondering what the sea star eats, and then Gio is like, bro, same. Wondering what that sea star eats.
Yeah.
And Christy had a cool comment that the one on the side looks like a tree nut.
Ooh.
A tree nut.
It does.
Gage thinks that the starfish looks big and funny, and then Aaliyah's wondering if they'll hurt each other.
So we're hoping that they won't hurt each other. They've been hanging out in our marine tank all year long together.
They coexist peacefully.
They coexist peacefully. We like to think that they're friends. And what they eat, they'll eat all kinds of other smaller critters that live in the tide pools. But we will get to that in more detail in a bit. So hold on tight. It's coming. But we have some naturalists ready to join a really cool club.
Yeah, this is maybe my second favorite club after that 1 minute club. But this whole time you guys were making these observations, they were arguing about who could join this club faster.
Yep, it's definitely me.
The patient they have is when they get scared to protect themselves, they pull themselves back inside that shell where they're nice and safe. So, hands ready, please. You've got some hermit crabs that are ready.
Give me a good one.
It sure is. All right, there's your hermit
Head
crab.
start.
No, that's not fair.
It's okay.
Okay, I'm still
I believe in you.
Don't worry.
All right.
Come on, little buddy.
While this might take a minute, why don't you guys? Oh, are you feeling legs?
I'm feeling legs.
Oh,
Come on. Oh,
Oh, I see legs.
no. Please no.
The winner.
What?
I don't know. It might have just been shuffling.
Oh, yeah, he was just poking
he was
out.
Definitely out.
He looked down and he saw your face. I was
Come
like,
on,
nope.
Stanley.
Stanley. Oh, there he
No!
His legs.
Oh, the camera scared him.
Okay.
Oh,
Maybe
oh,
Twig
he
screaming
was-
is scary.
Okay, let's try to be really
We'll be-
quiet.
I'm sorry.
Let's look really close at them.
Get back in your shell.
Oh, I see a leg. Oh, I think he's moving.
Look at him go. Oh, it's okay.
Wow. I'm pretty sure Poppy is the clear winner of
I can
this.
deal with this
Crab
long.
whisperer. It's on my resume, actually.
Maybe
Did
next
you hear
time.
that? That's my theme song chant going because I just won.
Wow, Poppy, yours is really active. I can tell that it's
very comfortable.
Check out those antennae.
Yeah.
So hermit crabs actually have 5 pairs of legs. Their first 2 are their claws, and one claw's a little bigger than the other because they serve a little bit of different purposes in eating and protecting. Then they have their walking legs, and then they have their legs that help them hold onto their shell. Because hermit crabs, they don't actually make their own shells. They just,
He's a
Did a
roller.
somersault.
It's okay. He's
but look,
acrobatic.
it's coming right back out. Hermit crabs actually, they use the shell of a different animal. So the snails make these shells. And we have a snail in here.
He's right there.
It's hanging out right here. And you can see underneath that even though it's the same shell, there's obviously got something different going on underneath there. And when those animals shells, see if I can find some of those empty shells.
Oh, look, there he goes. Finally, Twig.
Finally.
That's okay.
Couldn't be a little bit sooner.
He was maybe a little more shy. That's okay.
You're just
All
more
hermit crabs
reserved.
are different.
True.
Everyone operates at their own speed.
So
Yeah.
there's these shells of different sizes, and when the crab gets big, so maybe a crab was living in this shell, this smaller shell. When it got bigger, it would leave that shell and go look for a different.
Okay.
It almost doesn't look like an animal. Sometimes it kind of looks like a plant. It is the anemone. Why don't we take a really close look at this anemone here?
This pink one right here.
Yeah, it's that pink one.
Wow.
It's called a Christmas tree anemone or a red anemone sometimes.
Nice. It kind of looks like a volcano.
Yeah, that's a really good it reminds me of. And
Remember, if you have any other it reminds me of in the crowd, you can let us know in the comments.
yeah, definitely. And there is one more club we want you to join, Outdoor Ed.
Me?
We want you to join. And it's the Anemone Club. And to join this club, you're going to gently put your finger right there in the tentacles on the top.
Okay.
You got this. Don't worry.
Oh, look at that little thing moving around.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like grabbing onto me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What does that feel like? Is it sticky?
Yeah, it feels a little sticky.
If anyone has any idea why the anemone might be reacting like that, let us know in the comments. Do you have any ideas why it might be doing that, Outdoor Ed?
Probably because it wants to be my friend, because I'm pretty cool.
Really? Good
Some
guess.
might say.
But you want to know what it's actually trying to do?
What is it trying to do?
It's trying to eat you.
Okay. Woo!
Don't worry,
That's
Outdoor
crazy.
Ed. We would never put you in danger. But the anemone uses its tentacles to grab onto your finger and to grab onto its prey and eat it. But it's not strong enough to do that to a person, so don't worry.
Oh.
Comment, Lee, do you have something to share?
That was our question: was if the anemone can eat things? Does it bite?
It doesn't really
I
bite
was wondering.
because it doesn't have any teeth like we do in our mouths, but it uses those tentacles to grab creatures
sometimes even like those hermit crabs and those sea snails we were talking about will wander on into those tentacles and then it'll grab them and eat them.
Looks like Common Lady has
We
another.
have one more. It was actually Aaliyah who was wondering if the anemone can bite, but Kyle said that this anemone reminds him of an octopus.
Yeah,
Whoa.
with those tentacles. That's very good. It reminds me of.
So we have some other animals that we have in our marine tank, but as we were telling you about the one tug rule, they wouldn't come off in one tug, and we didn't want to disrespect them by bringing them with us, but we do have some pictures. And the first is called a Gumboot Cayenne. And Shanty showed you this chitin shell before. And it was pretty small. But the shell of the Gumboot Cayenne is actually way bigger. This is a pretty small one, and this is smaller than the one that we have in our marine tank. But it has these bony plates in its back, and its like top part underneath a rough skin. This is what its foot looks like underneath. It has one big foot, and it sticks onto those rocks. And it actually, something really cool about the Gumboot Cayenne is that it has these teeth made out of the strongest biomineral in the world. So even though these animals are vegetarians, they eat mostly kelp and algae, they actually have teeth made out of magnetite, which is super strong. And if anyone has any ideas why they might need such strong teeth, you can let us know.
Oh, Pacific, I'm sure we were all wondering about these really cool sea stars in here. We've had a few notices about them. Do you want to tell our friends at home what's going on with these guys?
So sea stars are really cool animals, and we've heard some people in the audience call them starfish, which is what they're often called, but we like to call them sea stars because they're not actually fish. If any of you have seen a fish that looks like this before, let us know. I certainly haven't. But there's so many cool things about sea stars, and we have two different kinds of sea stars in our marine tank. So we have this ochre star right here. I'll bring it out, but we don't want to keep the anemone out of water too long. This big guy is really, really rough. And you can see its 5 tentacles. And then we have another sea star called the bat star. And if you notice any differences between these two sea stars, please let us know in the comments, because they're definitely, even though they are both sea stars, they are different. And one of the cool things about sea stars is that if one of their rays comes off, they can regrow them. And we have a really cool sea star in our marine tank. It's a bat star, but when one of its tentacles came off, it grew back 2 instead. So even though this sea star is only supposed to have 5 rays, it actually has 6. And if you notice any other differences between these two, you can let us know in the comments. Looks like we have...
Yeah, just quick thing about one of them said it looks like the skin of a potato of one of those sea stars. And that's what Edward said. And just as she stepped on one, it squirted out water.
Whoa, interesting.
That's really interesting.
Each says one is smaller and one's bigger.
That's definitely true.
Great job. The size comparison. Yeah, these bat stars are usually a little bit smaller. You can tell that that big guy was pretty huge.
And we can also show you the bottom of the sea star. So underneath you can see all of these tiny little legs which help it walk. And it's funny, on my hands I can feel how they feel while they're walking. And if you have any guesses of how that might feel on your hands, you can let us know in the comments. And you can even see over here some feet are moving around trying to find a place to walk. So yeah, if you have any more...
Aspen says one's blobby and one's stiff.
Yeah, this one definitely, it's all curved and it looks more round. And it definitely has more of like a blob, circular kind of thing going on. But this, these sea stars definitely look more...
Slippery salamander notices that one is smooth and one is rough.
Yeah, that's
good
great.
job.
These ones definitely... Sea stars are part of that family where they have rough skin, but this sea star right here is way more rough than this one is over here.
And you know what, Pacific? I have some in this tray.
Kyle said one looks like it has webbing.
Oh. Yeah. Maybe, yeah. These ones do kind of look a little more webbed. Their rays are a little closer together at the ends than they are over here.
And I have some in this, we use these boxes a lot at the tide pools to take a closer up look at the animals And I just want to walk over.
Oh no! Careful! Oh my gosh, it came out.
Oh my god.
Look
at
I
this
dropped
sea
it and
star.
it's stuck to the log now.
It looks really beautiful.
So I'll show you some more things about this sea star. So the sea star's eyes, they don't have eyes like we have eyes, but they're at the end of all their rays. Right here, and here, and here are eyes. And I know this isn't, you know, the same way that I picked up sea stars. I'm gonna pick up this sea star.
Oh, that one's kind of funny looking.
Yeah, you can see those feet over here that it has on all of its rays going up to its eyes. And if you turn it around, you can see it's protecting. It has that rough skin. But you're gonna go back to your rock where you belong. Okay. Good job.
Careful.
And now we have another creature that lives in the tide pool. This creature is called a mussel.
That one just popped up.
So this mussel has this skin on the outside, and you can see these rings. If anyone knows what these mark, you can let me know in the comments. I'll give you a hint. It's similar to the rings on the inside of a tree. And sea stars, or mussels, sorry, the way they keep they have two shells and they're the same and they're closed together, just like you see here. And the way that they get food and all the nutrients they need to survive is they pull it in.
Oh my gosh,
and they
look.
shoot it back out without barely opening their shell to protect the meat inside.
Oh my gosh.
So the water goes in and they can take all the nutrients, and then the water goes out on the other side. They have these threads over here which help them stay stuck to the rocks. But then something happens and the sea star comes along. This sea star walks on its feet in an upright position, which is a little unusual, but we'll forgive it. And the sea star's hungry. So
I'm hungry.
Super hungry. He's like ready for dinner for sure. And it's trying to break open this mussel so that it can eat it. But even with those strong feet, it can only open the mussel just a little bit. Just a little bit. And then, so we can see inside the mussel, we'll just open a little bit more to show you what's going on.
What?
There's these two shells, but there's the meat of the mussel is totally unprotected now that the shell is open. Even just that tiny little skin
Oh no.
is so unprotected, and it's so scared because someone might come along and eat it. Get him! And what happens, this sea star isn't going to eat it like you might think, but it takes its stomach outside of its
Oh my
body
god.
and eats the mussel.
Oh god. Oh, the horror. Oh my god.
And then when it's done, it takes its stomach. What a load, am I right? And puts it back inside of its body. And then the mussel is no more. And those two shells, they're empty now. All right, let's give some warm fuzzies to our actors.
To our real life.
Eat sea stars, they're wondering.
Sorry, what was the question?
What animals eat sea stars?
No one eats me.
You know, I'm not actually sure, but if any of the other naturalists know, it looks like Scale has an answer to that question.
Sometimes birds will eat sea stars.
Whoa.
And speaking of birds, we are, I think, almost ready to travel to our next ecosystem.
I know, and we looked at all these really cool adaptations that these animals have. That stomach of the sea star, the muscles holding on tightly, the legs and the shape, and all these cool animals with their spiny skin. But I think we're going to learn about adaptations in a new environment. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready. And as much as safety is always important, I don't think we need these guys anymore. The neon party can stay at the tide pools. Yeah.
All right, so
Definitely.
what is the next ecosystem that we are going to?
We are going to the marsh.
Marsh.
The marsh. The marsh. Marsh. Nice. All right, and the marsh is one of my favorite ecosystems that we like to travel to on beach day because there are some really cool animals that live there. There's a lot of birds that live in the marsh. And they live there because they kind of have more access to some of those sea creatures to eat, but they also have some more safety of some more solid ground like you saw in that picture. And, you know, that reminds me of a song.
Everything in Outdoor Ed reminds me of a song.
I know, it's just like living in a musical. It's pretty incredible. So,
is this a repeat after you song?
It is a repeat after me song.
Is it a do as you do song?
And a do as I do
No
song.
way.
It is. That's true.
I'm shocked that on day 4 of Outdoor Ed,
Yeah.
we always more do as I do and say repeat after me. That's the one.
You get the point.
Yeah.
All right, so make sure you stand on up, clear your space because it's about to get crazy in here. So this is a repeat after me.
This is a repeat after
me. And do as I do.
And do as I do.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings.
In the mountains or down by the shore.
In the mountains or down by the shore.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings.
Here's what we use them for.
Here's what they use them for.
All right, and I think I saw some of these birds flying around. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere! So many birds everywhere! Okay. Hey, birds, can you please line up on this log? Oh, it's so nice that I can talk to birds.
Beautiful.
So, these birds are really cool, and they have a lot of different adaptations to help them survive too. And each one of these birds has a rhyme for you guys. So they're going to tell you a rhyme that has to do with what they eat based on the shape of their beak. So be paying attention to that shape of their beak and what the rhyming word might be.
So we'll give you an example of one of those rhymes. So if the first sentence is, a beak can tell you what that bird needs. A round, blunt beak that bird eats. And that word of what the bird eats is going to rhyme with needs. Does anyone know what it is? Seeds!
Seeds, that's right.
And we'll sing the chorus in between each of the verses.
I think we should get our first rhyme.
Oh, yes. Sometimes a beak digs in the muck like the wide, flat bill of a...
Let us know in the comments. We're going to hit you with that chorus.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the shore.
Where the whale feathers,
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings. Here's what they use them for.
All right, will you repeat that one more time with us?
Sometimes a beak digs in the muck like the wide, flat bill of a...
Everybody's got
Of a duck. Nice job. You can flick it around. All right, why don't you give us your rhyme?
A long, thin beak has the power to sip some nectar from a...
We're going to do the chorus twice this time. Get ready.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the shore. Where the whale feathers, beaks, feet, feathers and wings. Here's what they use them for.
One more time.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the shore.
Where my wings at?
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings. Here's what they use them for.
A long, thin beak has the power to sip some nectar from a...
Miss Koo says flower! And also, Aaliyah said she didn't know birds had shoes.
I know, these are really weird birds. Nice job. All right. Let's hear our next rhyme.
A long, sharp beak. I search for my favorite dish. I can stab my prey. It is a...
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the shore. Where my wings at? Beaks, feet, feathers and wings. Here's what they use them for.
One more
time. Beaks, feet, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the
beak for my favorite dish. I can stab my prey. It is a...
Woodrow Wilson says fish.
Nice study.
Kaylee said,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
hey, you're a hummingbird. From Kaylee.
Kaylee, you got it.
what am I?
Mark out.
Okay, we have one more rhyme.
Last one. A beak can tell you what this bird eats. A sharp curved beak I eat.
Beaks, beak, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the shore. Check the trail, fellas. Beaks, beak, feathers and wings. Here's what they use them for.
One more time.
Beaks, beak, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the shore. Where my wings at? Beaks, beak, feathers and wings. Here's what they use them for.
One more time.
Oh yeah.
All right. A beak can tell you what this bird eats. A sharp curved beak I eat.
Whoa!
Bird down.
Meat from Griselda. And we have, we're not sure what's happening here, but Rochelle says that Scale is a gull, but
Nope.
Slippery Salamander thinks that they're a stork. Who knows?
Oh, really good guessing.
nice
Thank you so
guessing.
much.
All right.
Right, let's sing that chorus to send our birds away. Just one more time.
Beaks, beak, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the shore.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings. Here's what they use them for. Great job, everybody, guessing all of those things that those birds eat. And
We have, we know we only have a few minutes left, but we want to show you some really cool birds. These birds are taxidermied, which means that they've been preserved for us to study scientifically. And these birds all died a natural death, but what's really cool is that we still get to learn about them. So we've talked about what these birds eat in the song, so if you know, let us know. Our first bird over here is the duck. If you remember, and you can see its beak. And we have another bird with a similar kind of beak. This bird is called a coot. And you can see its similar beak. But if you notice any differences between these two birds or similarities, let us know. It could be in size, in color, in shape.
And remember, if you can guess what they eat based on those beaks,
You can
let
have
us
a
know.
close-up of those beaks, where they might be liking to eat. And while you're thinking about that, we want to show you our next bird.
This one's my favorite. Ska! That is kind of what it sounds like. All right, this guy is a hawk. As you can tell, that beak is pretty sharp and a little bit curved. So if you know what this bird eats, let us know in the comments down below. You can also check out those feet. Those claws are pretty sharp, pretty intense. He's got this reddish coloring. Long tail feathers. Oh yeah. All right. And was there something?
Well, it looks like we want to show you a close-up of those feet. Might be hard to see.
Oh yeah.
But you can see an example of similar kinds of feet to that bird. What if you notice about those sharp talons and why you think they might be helpful?
Those are pretty scary.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
It looks like we have some comments from the comment lady.
Come on over, comment lady.
All right. So Joseph said that on the duck and the coot that the feathers are similar.
Yes.
And Edward said that the duck has brownish gray feathers, while the other bird has more of a gray color.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Great observations.
Also want to show you one of the cool differences in adaptations of these birds' feet. So you can see the duck. Maybe you can't see so well, but the duck's feet are webbed and the coot's feet are not. What adaptation do you think that webbed feet helps with? And I'll show you in a bigger example of a webbed foot. this foot does not belong to a duck, but a goose, which are way bigger animals, but you can see similar kind of webbing on the feet where they're connected by this material. And if anyone knows what this adaptation is helpful for, let us know in the comments. And I think Soleil is ready with one of our biggest, coolest birds.
Here it is. This is my favorite bird that we have. This guy is a great blue heron. And they're so cool. And it's extra interesting because we know the story of where we got this guy.
Yeah.
So like we said, all these animals died of natural causes, but this flew into the home of a former naturalist.
Yeah.
If I'm correct. So pretty cool where this guy came to us. So as you can see, it's got that really long beak. It's pretty sharp at the end. And another thing that's interesting about this guy is those really long legs. They're longer than my head. And if you have a guess as to what do you think these really long legs are for, or if maybe you recognize the shape of this beak from our song and have a guess as to what kind of things it might eat, let us know in the comments below. And
do we have a visit from our comment lady? It looks like she's coming.
Okay.
About the great blue heron's feet. Edward thinks that they might have or be an adaptation for better grip.
Ooh, very good. That's a great observation. And we have a lot of really cool birds here. And we sing a lot of cool birds that live in the marsh. But there's birds everywhere. So one activity you guys can do later after this live stream has ended, you can go peek out your window. You can look very carefully and see if you can see any birds. You can use those coyote ears to listen, see if you can hear any birds that you can't see. And another thing that they can do.
Oh, we got
one more comment
about that great blue heron.
Yeah.
And its super cool body. Joseph said that the long legs are used to walk and wade through water.
Very good, Joseph.
And Aspen says the beak is for eating fish.
Nice! It is for eating fish, and those legs do help it walk through water. Great job with all of those observations.
And I have another activity for you that you can do at home. This activity is called Create a Critter. And so we talked about adaptations, and there's 3 reasons why adaptations are super important. They help animals survive by getting food, by giving them shelter, a place to live, and a way to protect themselves from predators. And you can create an animal that does, any animal, so it doesn't need to be based anywhere in the truth, and how it can get food, have shelter, and protection. So I created this kind of butterfly-like creature, but it has sharp claws on the top of its head, which help it catch food and protect itself, and it can bring those into its mouth. And it lives in trees, so that's its shelter and its home. And one more cool thing that you can do is you can go to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Has live cameras of a whole bunch of different ecosystems. You can watch the animals that live there. You can watch the sharks, the fish, they have birds, I think they have a kelp forest, even all of these different ecosystems, including some that are underwater that would be really hard to experience. And so those are ways that you can keep connecting to the beach day theme even after this live stream is over.
Check out the link in the comments.
The link is in the comments for the Monterey Bay Aquarium cameras. They're super cool. I definitely recommend them.
That's right. And sadly, that is all the time we have this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We had so much fun with you guys today. And remember tonight to tune in at 6:30 where
the battle continues.
Oh yeah!
Oh,
it's gonna be such a party. We're gonna try to bury our differences and make some good food and do some fun singing. It's gonna be a party.
We're gonna really work on that C word of cooperation tonight.
It's such fun.
I love it.
But Poppy is the Hermit Crab Queen.
It's true. But I guess we'll put that behind us because we're gonna have a lot of fun at campfire tonight.
Oh yeah.
Together.
So excited.
See you there.
6:30.
And we have another lesson live streaming tomorrow morning at the same time.
And then remember, you can always check out the newsletter full of all sorts of other cool information.
And remember, slime on!